Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me before I start off with introductions. If you can just give me a quick chat and let me know. It looks like I did get some response back, so glad to hear it. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Christy Strauss, and I'm a broker sales manager at Insurance Advisors Direct. Just a few little housekeeping things. You are all muted, but you can ask questions by typing into the chat feature. I will monitor those questions, and then we can get them answered. Most likely we'll wait till the end of the webinar. We typically record these, and so today's webinar is going to be recorded. We have a YouTube video library that we house all of our recorded webinars in. So Connie Elkins is here with us today. She is our Medicare sales rep with Priority Health, and she's going to be talking about some updates and some things coming in the future that we all need to know about. So with that being said, Connie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So while I want to give you the updates, I'm not sure if everyone is very familiar with Priority Health and who we are and what we do. So I'm just going to take a brief start here in the beginning and tell you if you're not familiar, and maybe you'll still learn some things as well. Priority Health is a Michigan-based company. We don't write in any other counties, or I should say states, I'm sorry, any other states. However, for those of you that know our travel benefit, if you're outside of the state, you're going to have exactly the same coverage. Just need to seek care from a provider that accepts Original Medicare. So our membership continues to grow. Right now it says 971,000 individual members, but that has grown as well. But the thing that has not changed is 97% of our primary care doctors in Michigan and every major hospital system are all in our network. But one of the exciting things is that Priority Health is the #1 chosen Medicare Advantage plan in Michigan. And as I already mentioned, the state out-of-state travel benefit. And I'm going to give you a little hint here, guys. It's going to get even better for 2021. So that's the only hint I can give you. We file our plans June 1st. All of our plans, whether they are PPO or HMO point of service, do not require referrals. So that's another wonderful thing that we offer. This is our scale, and I want to show you. This kind of helps you understand that we are the #1 provider. And I'm not sure if it's as small on your screen as it is mine, but you will see that green line is Priority Health, 152,569 members compared to the blues. Now, when we're comparing to the blues, we're comparing not only the Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan, but the Blue Care Network. They're both added together. So that's 2 companies for the blues compared to us. And this is individual Medicare Advantage plans on that top row. Okay. In the bottom row, this is our monthly growth. So you will see the actual patterned are the D-SNP. So we are having tremendous growth in the D-SNP as well. And the one that's coming up with the D-SNP also is Humana would be right behind us, WellCare following. So, and then on the far right, on that graph chart, you're actually going to see where we're primarily based. But one of the things that I want to thank all of you for is more than 89% of our business is all broker driven. So it all comes from independent agents. Some of our more astute 65-year-olds are actually going online and enrolling directly with us. And we do have some call centers that are but the majority of our business, and I seem to be stumbling today, the majority of our business all comes from agents. And that is one of the reasons we design our plans. We listen to you. We want to hear your concerns and ideas. And we are using all of that to create our 2021 plans. But one of the big questions that I think you guys are all getting right now is, how does Medicare cover auto accidents? And this is, well, and that's me. So Medicare is always considered a secondary payer law in auto accidents. And it only covers the benefits subject to Medicare rules. So remember the rule with Medigaps and Medicare Advantage plans, if it's not covered by Medicare, it's not going to be covered. And if the members decide to not take PIP or reduce their amount of PIP, and they are using their Medicare Advantage plan or their Medigap plan, they are going to be required to pay their plan copays, if any. So if they're going to be in the hospital for 3 days and they've got a $325 per day, if they do not have PIP, they're going to be paying those copays. And the auto policies, so the personal injury protection, which is what PIP stands for, the personal injury protection plan also covers so many more items other than just health coverage. So that would be in-home health attendant care, transportation to and from medical appointments. That's a biggie. If someone is going through, they're not able to drive, and I can use myself as an example. I was involved in a very severe auto accident 11 years ago, and I was in a cervical collar, and as I was going back and forth for physical therapy treatments, doctors, that sort of thing, I wasn't allowed to drive. And after the first 2 or 3 days of my husband driving me, he said, you know what, I think we're going to take them up on that transportation to and from medical appointments. If someone is severely injured and they now need to have their vehicle modified or their home modified, all of those things are covered under a personal injury protection plan under their auto policy, but are not covered by Medicare. Additional things that Medicare doesn't cover: replacement services. So let's say that Medicare person can no longer cook or clean for themselves because they are injured. The personal injury protection, and that's first dollar coverage, guys, no copays, takes care of that. Case management services, long-term comprehensive rehab. Remember, we've got, in that skilled nursing facility, the first 20 days are covered with a zero copay, but after that, they're racking up $178.50 per month. I'm sorry, per day. And electric wheelchairs, occupational therapy, the executive functioning for brain trauma, that is a big deal too, guys. Now, all of this said, it's not our job as agents to try to convince the members if they should or shouldn't, because in my opinion, the auto carriers need to be providing that reason too. Are you going to totally eliminate your personal injury protection, your PIP? Are you going to carry 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, or are you going to carry the unlimited? What they need to know when they're asking you is, and a lot of the insurance agents I'm hearing on the property and casualty area are actually saying, hey, if you eliminate this, your Medicare will take care of it. And that's not necessarily true. And so you want to make sure that you advise them. Medicare will pay for Medicare covered benefits, and if their policy has copays, subject to those copays. Now, there's one additional thing that you need to know. Since Medicare is considered secondary payer for auto accidents, that if the person is involved in an accident and they are getting a suit, as far as it's going to be a settlement for their pain and suffering, because Medicare is secondary payer, and all of the payments that they make, if there's not a primary carrier, are considered conditional payments. So if that's a conditional payment and someone comes into the picture who actually is that primary payer, or they receive that settlement, Medicare has the right to, and from what I understand, they will go back and actually capture a portion of that beneficiary settlement. So, and I don't know, Christy, I'm going to ask you, do we want to stop, since we're talking about a couple different segments? Do we want to ask questions on this right now, or do we want to hold it to the end?
We can hold it to the end because nobody, I'm watching and there are no questions at this point.
Okay.
So we'll just keep going.
Okay. So we just added one for Nathan.
Oh, stop that. Yeah. I didn't have one for Nathan,
all we had to do is say. So,
right.
Dan, I can see your question. And if someone has a Plan F or a Plan G, you need to understand Medicare is only going to cover Medicare-related claims. So again, all of those things are not covered under original Medicare, so they would not be covered under that Plan F or Plan G. And yes, they could lower their PIP, but that's not for us to determine. We just need to tell them, because we're their Medicare sales agent, we need to tell them what Medicare is going to cover and their exposure. I don't think it's our job to convince them either to take it or to not take it, but I'm hearing that you guys are getting, and I'm getting, more of these questions than probably their property and casualty agents. Okay, did I miss one of the questions?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. Then, and all of you know, and we're getting close to the end of this now, as far as CMS announced a special enrollment, an SEP, for individuals affected by COVID. The amount of people that are actually eligible is very small. The start date was March 1st, and it ends June 30th. And so this is for individuals who say, we would have made an election, but we didn't because of the quarantine, the COVID. So you need to make sure that someone had an eligibility period starting March 1st. With it going through June 30th now, these are all opportunities that they have right now. So the SEP really kind of goes, if you have to look back, did someone have an enrollment and we should have submitted an application somewhere between March 1st and today? Now, what could be that? Now that since they went back to March 1st, that could be someone that did not make a change during OEP. So did they have an MAPD plan and they would have made a change, but they decided they shouldn't because they thought they were going to be, in quarantine and didn't contact you, didn't contact the carrier. So that would be one. The other would be losing group insurance. So did they lose group insurance and they haven't submitted an application within that 63 days? The other might be someone that turned 65, maybe in February, and they're past that 3 months that they have. So the 3 months before, the month of, and then 3 months after. So those are the SEPs that they would have. They'd have to have had a valid SEP, not just I want to make a change and they already had used their OEP. They just aren't happy. They now want to sign up and they don't have a valid reason. So they would have had to have a valid reason. Once you do confirm that they have one, the applications you're actually going to use on the MAPD, you're going to use that very last classification that they have on that box, which is the fact that it was a federal disaster. So that's the one that you're going to use. Since we're talking about the quarantine and the fact that it's because of COVID that they might have missed that opportunity to sign up for a plan, I do want to just reiterate the fact that Priority Health is covering all the COVID treatment, the diagnosis and the treatments 100% through June 30th. And that's on Medicare, Medicaid, individual plans, and employer-sponsored plans. The other thing is we are actually going to be continuing through December 31st, the zero copay for either in-person or telehealth for PCP visits. The other thing we are also covering is behavioral health. So if somebody wants to use virtual health, so the virtual copays for either seeing your PCP or a behavioral specialist is also waived totally. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing is helping because I know a number of you guys not only sell Medicare, but are My Priority plan. And we are going to be offering a 15% premium credit applied in their May and June invoices for their June and July policies. And other than that, it pretty much takes care of those. So that's it for just giving you guys a brief update. I do want to talk about the fact that we are getting ready to file our 2021 plans. So we can't officially talk about it, but this year we had made a number of changes. We added new plans and changed a whole lot of things. Next year, we're not looking to make nearly as many changes, but we're going to be tweaking things so that it actually hits those things that you've asked us for. So adding OTC on some other plans, that is in the works. So we're going to be changing that. I know everybody loves the Edge plan, so just know that there's new and good things coming on the Edge plan for 2021. And I also want to talk about the fact that we're going to start our agent certification will begin the end of July. So start looking for that. We will be able to do them virtually. We're waiting to see in August if it might open up and we'll hold them in person. We have to wait to see if we can do that, but that is our intent to be able to do that. But we will be able to hold them virtual. And, so I see the question. So Jeff, your question is, if anyone wants to waive PIP and they have an auto claim, Medicare would not cover anything. Nope, that's not true. So I think you're asking if someone just had original A and B. Medicare is only going to cover what would be a Medicare benefit. So let's say they're hospitalized, they need some physical therapy. Medicare is going to be paying their 80%. If they have an MAPD, then they're going to be paying, that member is going to be paying their copays. Does that answer the question? Thank you. Any other questions, guys?
That's a really good thing for all of us to know about, though, Connie, because I wasn't certain on a few of those points that you made with the PIP. And, although their PNC agents will guide them with that, they may not understand the Medicare portion. So we have to do a good job of coordinating that information to beneficiaries.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you giving us this.
So my pleasure. I know we're quick. I wasn't sure were we supposed to do 15 or half an hour, but it's like I wanted to make sure this is Friday before Memorial Day weekend, not quite as robust as we normally have for Memorial Day, but hopefully people have some fun things planned.
So it looks like Dan just wants to get some things cleared up here about Medicare supplement plan F and G. Wouldn't it make sense for them to lower the PIP?
Okay. What you need to know is whether they have a plan F, a plan G, or a Med Advantage plan. The policy is never going to pay for things that Medicare doesn't cover. So you're right that if they had a plan F or G, they may not have any copays for hospitalization, that sort of thing. But what they're not going to have are all of those other benefits. So if someone asks you, does it make sense to lower my PIP since I have a plan F or G? I wouldn't make any recommendations because we don't know what their risk tolerance is, and we also don't know the extent of maybe an auto accident. I am still 11 years later getting therapy once a month on my neck and shoulders. So we don't know what the extent of their injuries might be. And I think that probably puts me in a better state. I actually started off as an agent selling property and casualty and then moved into Medicare, well, in group health insurance and then eventually Medicare. So I understand probably a little bit more how that PIP can really come into play.
So Ralph has a question. If Medicare is secondary, are they paying, or is a secondary paying if there is no PIP?
So the way Medicare says is we are always secondary. Always, always, always secondary. If there is no one, they will pay it on a conditional payment. So the conditional payment means if they get a settlement, if there's any other possibility to recapture that, Medicare will go after that. And they're never going to pay the same benefits that PIP does. Yep, I agree, Dan. And I think the carriers, I actually got to watch a Progressive webinar, and the Progressive webinar was for agents, and they went over this pretty extensively as far as what PIP is, how it's covered. You know, somebody might not say I need the unlimited or lifetime, but not knowing, you know, an 80-year-old person in an auto accident is probably going to sustain a lot more severe, life-changing injuries than maybe, someone that's younger. So keep all of those things in mind. It's not for us to decide. It is for your members to decide where their risk tolerance is, but they do need to have good answers from us, because there are some PNC agents that are just saying, hey, Medicare covers it, because unlike Dan, they don't understand how Medicare works. So they're just assuming Medicare is going to pick up everything that PIP did, and that's not the case. Okay. Did we miss? I think somebody else had. So Ralph, I think we talked about yours, that Medicare is secondary, and it is always going to be secondary. Anybody else with questions?
Well, it looks like that's it.
You guys, my information is right here on this last slide. So my phone number and my email. If you come up with any questions, problems, I hope you're always calling me, but something may come up this afternoon, or we didn't get your question answered. So I want to make sure that you know I am available for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Connie. Well, with that being said, we'll give you all back the rest of your afternoon and enjoy the holiday weekend. Be safe, and let's hope for some sunshine here. I was hoping to see sun today.
And I'm not sure if we're getting it today, but I understand tomorrow, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome, awesome.
All right,
Thanks
everybody
so much,
be safe.
everybody.
Let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, have a good day.